It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called 2 versus 4, and this is my summit guide. Let's go! All right, real quick before we get into it, if you're looking for any of my tunes, go to militiagamingco.com, click on Motorfest Tools from the top, and there you will find all of my tunes. Let's get into it, man. The cars for the Summit Bundle this week are the Ferrari FXXK and the Ducati Panigale R. Additional vehicles you're going to need are the RB14 with Scorebreaker and Pure and Skilled as your affix, a Plane with Scorebreaker and Pure and Skill as your affix, and then I recommend the 458 GT2 in racing and the Hunatron with Nitrochemist with Pure and Rocket. All right, the keys to this summit are definitely your part sets and the shortcuts. This summit's a little bit wacky because of these vehicle choices and the dynamic routes from the Rivals playlist. These races definitely have a lot of weird shortcuts and little things you got to remember. So we'll go through each of those events in just a second. Here are the pro settings for all the vehicles I just mentioned. All right, the first event is called Ferrari versus Ducati, and this one has a few little cuts in it, so let's go ahead and fast forward to those. It's pretty straightforward outside of the cuts because it takes place on mostly on like the grand race route that we know. So let's go ahead and fast forward to those cuts. All right, the first cut takes place right here at 1.56 miles left. This is a very hard right-hander you can see on the mini-map. It's basically a U-turn, and you're at full speed. Because of that, you're gonna go through this checkpoint and reset, and then just make sure you're turning to the right when you get out of it. Shortly after this, you're gonna have this gutter turn here, and then when you clear the wall, you're gonna cut across the grass as well and reset this one. And that is it for this. Let's fast forward. There's one other corner that you can reset. You can do a reset on this one as well. I noticed that as I'm approaching this, I didn't reset it, but as I'm approaching this, I have to slow all the way down to about 50 miles an hour and then make the turn at 50. In order to make the turn, you got to get that slow, but when you reset, it usually respawns you at around 60 to 70 miles per hour. So you can actually hit this from the left side of this brick wall, just go straight across and reset in the checkpoint, and that should help you a little bit. And that's it for this one. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called Facing Off a Ducati, and for this one, I recommend the 458 Italia. You can also choose the FXXK, which we used in the previous race, and I think someone else was using something else. I'm not sure, I can't remember, but all right, the first reset is here at 3.48 miles left, and basically you're going to be going towards this checkpoint. It's a hard left. You're going very fast. You can just go ahead and reset this one. Spawns you in at about 60 miles an hour, and there you go. There's another reset up here. Let's fast forward. Remember, this should look very familiar. This is like the grand race route. So the reset is basically going to be the same as the grand race route, which is right here on this corner. And it resets you on the turn like that. There's another one here at the bottom of the hill. Once you get down here into the city section, reset here. And then you're basically home free. You're going to cut this grass on the left. And you can kind of cut across this grass as well. Just make sure you don't lose control of the car. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Racing Car Supremacy. And this is with the FXXK. This one is kind of interesting. There's a couple of different tactics you can use on some of these turns, so I'll talk about those as we get to them. Let me fast forward. All right, this turn right here, it's a very hard left turn. You can notice it on the mini-map. It's a directly left. You can actually extend this turn instead of taking it normally. So this is a normal turn here. And notice when you get through this section here, I'm still only going about 200 miles an hour, but you can go a lot faster. I barely used any NOS there. Let me show you what it looks like in a different way here. In this run, I actually slowed down, but extended the turn to the right. So basically on the right side of the checkpoint flag, kiss the tree. You don't have to kiss the tree. And then across the grass like that. But notice I'm at 185, small NOS tap back up to 2. So we're basically going the same speed. However, I believe I get there a little bit faster. So if we look at this checkpoint, I'm at 43 on this run, and I'm at 44.9 on this run. However, this run, I have the potential to be going faster. So it might be actually faster to not extend it. I guess it really depends on if you extend it with a lot of speed or if you mess up on not extending it. So try it both ways, see which way you get a faster time. All right, just a little tip. After this corner here, you're going to want to get into 7th gear as quick as possible, upshift early, and use a lot of NOS to get yourself to top speed. It's important on these long straights that you get yourself to top speed quickly. All right, and lastly, coming out of this tunnel here, you've got sort of this uphill on the right. Try to stay as wide as possible, then hit the gutter and hit this gutter and use NOS going up the hill. And that's basically it. Just make sure you hit this gutter on the final couple of turns and you'll be good to go. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Racing Bike Supremacy, and this one is with the Ducati. In fact, I think all of the bike ones are going to be with the Ducati. So this one is kind of frustrating. In fact, all 3 of them are pretty frustrating. You can do a lot of resetting if you want. I chose not to, and I got a decent time on this one. So that's kind of up to you, but you don't really have to. Just get into a nice low gear like 2nd, and you can take these corners fairly fast. Let's fast forward to some cuts. All right, this one at 5.43 miles left. About 52 seconds into the run. This is a nice spot to reset. Notice what it looks like on the mini map. You've got these very difficult switchback turns. Go straight to the checkpoint and reset. And you don't have to reset this one because you're already going pretty slow. Then as you're approaching these fields, you're going to want to cut this to the right. I would say cut it as minimal as possible. You don't have to go crazy. The longer you're in the field, the longer you're going to be losing speed. So don't go too crazy with that cut. All right, here on this one, you're going to reset this flag as well. It's a hard left-hander. Just make sure you go through it and reset it. I actually was pulling to the left for some odd reason, but you don't have to do that. And that's it. Again, with the bikes, it's important that you get into the highest gear possible and NOS. The bikes are incredible when it comes to acceleration, but you got to be in those high gears. If you're NOSing through each one of the gears, you're just not taking advantage of the NOS. So drop it into 6th, like basically go from like 4th to 6th or 3rd to 6th right away and just dump NOS whenever you have like a straight. That's what you need to do. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Challenging a Ferrari. This is again with the Ducati. So there's a couple of little tricks for this one, a couple of little cuts. So let's get to those. The first one is here just past this checkpoint and the little wrench building. You go left and cut across the corner there. Just helps you maintain speed across the grass. As you're going through this tunnel, you got to prepare to slow down here at the end and cut this corner. What I did is a little bit too slow. I think I could have done a little bit of a better angle. You're still going to go through that brick wall, but you can go like more straight. I turned way too much, which caused me to lose some speed. And that's actually it. There's no more cuts in this one. All right, let's move on. All right, the last event is called Ducati versus Ferrari. And you guessed it, we're on the bike again. So there's a cut right here at this first corner. I stay to the left, cut right after the wall, and then go wide to extend into the grass and get back on the road. After this checkpoint here, you're gonna go through this gap in the trees. There you go. Just try to miss all of the trees. Across the grass here, and across the grass again there. Bikes don't lose very much speed off road. And across the grass again here. Get this checkpoint and just continue across the grass. Go towards the next one. This is a Grand Race route, so those should look pretty familiar. There's similar cuts that we run in the Grand Races as well. If you don't know those cuts, now you do. All right, when you get to these 2 hairpins here, this is actually a reset. I slowed down and took the corner, which really slowed me down, but shout out to Rhino the Raccoon. Says you can actually reset that corner. It's a little bit faster. This one, I don't think you need to reset. You can just kind of hang on, and that's about it. Again, get into 6th early, NOS to get up to speed, and you're good to go. All right, let's get to the feats. All right, as always, I'll let my feats play out in their entirety, but just keep in mind on the speed trap itself, I did it with the Mercedes, but I recommend the Hunatron. The Hunatron seems to be the easier way to do that because it allows you to get a lot more speed on the run up. But anyway, the video clip is with a Mercedes. Enjoy. All right, here are my final scores. DM me with any questions you might have on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. And again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this helps. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.